let's talk Mother's Day. Let's be honest, mothers are superheroes and deserve to be showered with love all year round. But there's no denying that they deserve a little bit more on Mother's Day. Hint, hint, Mother's Day is coming up on May 8th. Whether it's the mom or stepmom who raised you, the mother figure who made a meaningful impact on your life, or even a close friend who is a first-time mama, it's time to stop and say thank you to that Wonder Woman in your life. Let's look at some exquisite gifts of glass art for mothers who are anything but ordinary. Here is Dolores Barrett. Jewelry that shines as brightly as mom does by Dolores Barrett. Dolores Barrett has been producing objects of fine adornment since 1999. Inspired by her world travels, modernist architecture and design, as well as her personal curiosity, she quickly incorporated these concepts into unique wearable art pieces to dazzle galleries and collectors alike. We have all of our jewelry on sale, 20% off here at Imagine Museum. We also have some beautiful jewelry by My Italian Decor, owned by Elizabeth. She started her company as all things good should begin with love. It was a love affair with a way of life. It was the colors of the Italian landscape and the beauty of handcrafted work. Elizabeth just visited Italy, and we got to see some pictures from her visit, but we're also looking at some of the spectacular jewelry we selected with Mother's Day in mind from that trip. I hope you love all of these pieces as much as we do. We're looking here at the Galaxy necklace, featuring multiple strands of Murano glass beads spread out along rubber tubing, creating a contemporary and very unique look. Introducing the Boop earring. Murano glass beads on a hoop brings the best of shapes and styles together in one earring. I'm actually wearing one today. No more losing one earring because these jewels will not accidentally fall off her ear. Here we have our Monica necklace, a handmade Murano glass bead made up of this unique, fun, and beautiful necklace with a stainless steel cable. The main glass bead in this necklace is called a penny bead. The artisan hand blows each bead and then uses a tool to flatten it in its unique shape while the glass is hot. This is a video provided to us by My Italian Decor, showing the artisans here in Murano creating that penny bead. Not only do we have the necklace, but we do have the matching earrings. So here is your artisan making that glass bead. Look at the skill that goes into this. Each one of those beads is made handmade and then put on the necklace. And you see the different cane work in there. We're going to talk a lot more about cane later on in the segment. These are the filigrano wine stoppers, which also are hand blown, and they come in assorted colors. Filigrana is the generic name for blown glass made with colorless white and sometimes colored canes. The filigrano style originated on the island of Murano in the 16th century and spread rapidly to other parts of Europe. So when I was looking at the Monica necklace with the penny bead and the earrings and the bottle stops, to me it said a perfect package for Mother's Day. Grab her a bouquet of flowers, get her a bottle of wine, include that beautiful jewelry and wine stopper, and there you go, the perfect Mother's Day gift. We also have some other works I'd like to share with you from My Italian Decor. So we're going to take a look at this video of some other gift ideas. Authentic Murano glass elephants, hand blown, made in Italy. Hand blown and accentuated with 18 karat gold foil. This Murano glass elephant is a regal figurine that will add color and style to any room in her house. On a windowsill, the glass will catch the light and reflect the layers of color. There are many legends linked to the elephant. In the Italian city of Catania, the elephant was one particularly fascinating story. Some fierce animals threatened the city and the elephants scared them away. Just flew in from Murano, Italy. These sweet little birds are crafted one at a time by master glass artisans. Made with only glass, these birds are blown using glass cane and finished off with 18 karat gold foil. I want to take a look at some of the fruit collection that we have by My Italian Decor. So first of all, we talked a little bit about gold leafing. So to tell you a little bit about gold leafing foil, it's actually a hallmark from Murano. It creates the rich, elegant, sophisticated look of sparkling gold multiplied by glass reflections. And people cannot take their eyes off of them. But when we have our pears, there's also another technique that we use. And in Italy, they call it macchi or macchia, which means the spot or the stain, where they're delicately adding this to your fruits. And here we see a perfect example of it on this pear. Now, if you're looking for gifts for Mother's Day and this fruit collection, we carry pears and lemons and limes. We also carry beautiful grape clusters and our cherry collection. So when I think of this fruit and the many different places in the home that you can decorate, one of the first places I think of is the beauty of natural light. As that's going to come in through your window, it's really going to highlight all the different colors of this beautiful work. That's my favorite. Here you can really see that gold foil that goes on. You've probably seen them before, but it's back. We just can't get enough of Hewlett glass. Let's take a look at some of the new inedible candies we brought in for Hewlett glass. It's a handmade collectible solid glass strawberry pink chocolate with mom on top in a creamy raspberry created from colorful glass utilizing flame working techniques. This inedible chocolate is from the Mother's Day collection, and it's just one of our many colorful chocolate treats. This is the glass art blossoms. They come in lemon cherry, mint and elderberry, orange and cherry, pistachio and mango, to name a few. These presents are full of lasting love, so you can keep celebrating mom way beyond that special Sunday. These ladybugs are regarded as a lucky charm and a sign of contentment. Ladybugs bestow blessings upon people who come into contact with its blessings. This is the new latte collection, where you can show mom a whole latte love with these glass art pieces from the Connoisseur collection. And remember, moms live on coffee. What better way to celebrate her with these beautiful pieces from Hewlett glass? So I just want to show you these cute, delicate, precious little glass art pieces from Hewlett glass. This is the Connoisseur collection with the little coffee, and each one has a different, unique latte art on top. But we also talked about those beautiful, inspiring, precious ladybugs that come in different colors. Here's your pistachio and your orange and mango. And this will show mom how much you appreciate her and the blessings that she gave you and your entire family. It's a perfect gift here for Mother's Day. So all of our glass jewelry here is on sale at Imagine Museum at 20% off. You can come into the store, 1901 Central Avenue, St. Petersburg, Florida, or you can go online to imaginemuseum.com and use the code SALE20. Again, that's SALE20. So all the jewelry is on sale 20% off up until Mother's Day, May 8th. And our featured artists that you see here on our Facebook Live are also on special. Well, it's the time you've been waiting for. It's legendary glass artist. It's the glass Marini maker, Shawn Messenger herself. We just had an opportunity to speak with Shawn live, and let's take a look. Our guest glass artist, Shawn Messenger. Shawn Messenger graduated from the Cleveland Institute of Art with a BFA in glass. She was among one of the first wave of women to receive a degree in glass from the Institute. Shawn attended the Pilchuck Glass School and studied with Dale Chihuly. She also attended Penland School of Crafts, studying with Jan and Richard Ritter and Dina Hewlett, concentrating on Marini. Let's take a look. So hi, Shawn, welcome. How are you?
Good, very good. Thank you.
Great. We are so excited to have you here on our I Am Guest Glass series, with you being our featured glass artist. When we started talking about having a guest glass artist, unanimously, we were saying we want Shawn Messenger on here. So we're so excited we could make this happen. And we thought, what better holiday than for our Mother's Day live edition?
Right.
So I am surrounded by some beautiful pieces by you. Tell me what we're looking at on your end.
The pieces?
Yes, where are you at?
Oh, I'm at my studio in actually my little gallery here where we sell all our extra stuff. And I am looking at my beautiful pieces standing right next to you.
We are so inspired by your pieces. So Shawn, you started in glass in 1974?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
So what got you into glass? I know we're going to look at a video for history, but.
Well, the Cleveland Institute of Art at that time was a 5-year program. So in your first and second year, you had to take whatever they told you, which was basically painting, drawing, and design. But in your second year, you got to choose something that an extra that you thought maybe you would like to do. And my professor said, oh, today you can go to the glass department. And I just went, the what? The glass department? I've never heard of that. And it was in this little building that always, the whole time I was there, said maintenance building on it. He didn't even know it. At the very end, we made them finally put a sign that said glass. But I just went over there the day I was supposed to, and I figured I wasn't going to stay there very long. I was there for like 4 or 5 hours.
Wow.
It was, like I always say, it was love at first sight.
So we're going to look a little bit on your history. We've already mentioned the Cleveland Art Institute. We'll go through some pictures of that. But we also want to talk about your continued education at Pilchuck, Penland, your experience, who you worked with, who was your mentor, who did you mentor? And then, of course, you're coming to us from Toledo, which is known as the Glass City.
Right.
So let's go ahead and take a look at those videos and kind of walk us through more in depth of your experiences.
Well, at the Cleveland Institute of Art, which I did not go to, that's not the building that I went to school in. That's a brand new building. And it's an old building. The building that I went to is an Art Deco building. I'm not sure they even have it anymore. But at that time, it was a 5-year program. So I ended up 3 years in glass. And Brent Young was my professor, instructor, and I think he was pretty much a mentor. I did go to Pilchuck during that time also, and at that time, you could afford to go to Pilchuck for 2 sessions. And so I went for 2 sessions, and Dale Chihuly was there with Italo Scanga. There's James Harmon, Michael Shunke, Richard Royal, Billy Morris. I mean, everybody that you know of now. We were
all the pioneers, yes.
Yeah, we were just all kids and we were there. And I believe Billy Morris drove the garbage truck.
Okay, we've heard those stories, that's for sure.
Yes.
And then what was it like at Penland?
Well, Penland, I went there several times before I actually went there as a student. I went there with my husband, Jack Schmidt, who's also a glass artist, and he was teaching there. So I think I went there like maybe 3 or 4 times before I went down with myself, just myself going to do all the Marini study with Richard. But the experience there was great because there's just other things besides glass. So it was very inspiring because you just saw all kinds of different crafts being made. And it was very exciting.
And then you live in Toledo, known as the Glass City.
Right.
How does that influence your work? What brought you to Toledo?
Well, actually, my husband, Jack Schmidt, is originally from Toledo. And so we just had friends. We were living in California. He was teaching, and the teaching ended. So we were trying to figure out where to go. And friends said, oh, come to Toledo. And they found us a studio. Well, we first thought it was just going to be a place to store stuff, but it became a studio, and which is downtown Toledo. It's not the studio, but it's very close. And it's really funny because as a student, I came to the Toledo Museum of Art to see, their glass collection. So I never thought in a million years that I'd end up here, but I have lived here most of my life. So I guess I am a Toledoan. And there's just lots of glass around here. And the museum is so beautiful and very inspiring. Lots of people coming through. So, there's always something going on. Hopefully you learn from it.
When did you open your studio?
We opened a studio in, Jack had his part of the studio in 1981.
Mhm.
I actually started I was blowing glass at what was called Toledo Botanical Gardens, and they had a glass guild. So I used to rent time. And then I decided that I was going to do it. And that was about 1993, 4, I can't exactly remember. And we decided to build, I think it was 93 because that's when there was a gas conference. We had just started building it, and then we were finished in that summer.
So speaking of the botanical gardens, your work is, you describe it as impressionistic, inspired by flowers and gardens. And I think the botanical gardens might have also been a way into how you do your current process.
The whole Glass Guild was surrounded by the perennial garden, and which they kept up very beautifully. So, and the doors would open and you'd sit outside because you get hot. And so I just watched flowers change over the seasons, and the whole garden is very beautiful. It's much more beautiful now because it's been expanded. But I just watched flowers, and I always loved flowers. But that inspired me to.
Was there a moment that kind of changed or shifted?
Well, what happened was I cannot find their names, but there were a man and a woman who actually did ceramic Marinis, and they came and did a workshop there. And so I didn't do it, but I went and looked at it, and I kind of thought, oh, I did that with Gianni Toso when I was in school, but I hadn't really thought about it. So I made very simple round Marinis. I went to an art fair, and somebody looked at my pieces and they said, oh, those kind of look like snapdragons. And I thought, oh, that was kind of the light went off in my head to start looking at the flowers and combining it and trying to make them into something. And that's what I do now.
So you have some beautiful pieces behind you. We have some beautiful pieces here in our IM gift shop. Let's take a look at a video of some of the pieces. If you can kind of talk about the pieces, the colors, the patterns, tell us about what we're seeing here.
Okay. This is the cherry blossom case faced. So that's the white behind it and the cherry blossoms. I always thought of it's the springtime, the winter is just over with, but sometimes we have a snow storm, but you would see cherry blossoms in Washington, DC, and on the television and on the news. And so that was my inspiration there, to put the white background, thinking of the winter, but spring is on its way.
And you
so-
do this in multiple shapes, correct?
Yes, there's several layers of glass. So when you're looking through it, I mean, there's several layers of flowers. So when you're looking through it, it's like a cherry blossom tree, a cherry, cherry tree, looking at it. And the same with the egg. It's done in the same way. This one only has one layer of glass on it. I mean, it's flowers, excuse me. And so it's just a little bit different. But it's the same inspiration.
So when you make your paperweights, you make heart paperweights, you make egg paperweights, you make the traditional. Have you
Yes.
explored other shapes, or are these like your core?
Well, this is basically what I make, but I
Mhm.
do also large ones. I just finished one this morning. I call them gazing balls, and they're
Uh-huh.
big, round, giant paperweights, about 5.5 inches. And so this is the forget-me-not. I don't know why. I think I just like forget-me-nots. I don't know why I really started making them. I just, I was just trying to come up with a flower that people would actually know. And,
Mhm.
the forget-me-nots is important. And, we all need those to remember somebody and hope that somebody doesn't forget you, I guess, is part of the reason why I made them. But they're quite beautiful, I think.
So when
And-
you come up with the flowers that you're going to use, you mentioned the forget-me-nots.
Right.
Where do you make those decisions that this is a favorite flower, this is something that you've seen, it's an experience?
Well, lots of times I just I see a flower that interests me, and I try to create a Marini. I don't really make super complex Marinis. I just have not done that. Many of the Marinis are just, it's kind of like my vision of what the actual flower looks like. So it's simplified. These are the red roses, and you can kind of see that too. It's just the Marini is actually twisted. It looks like a cinnamon bun actually when I make it or I pull them out. But it's just a very simple version of a red rose. And I just try and experiment. Sometimes they don't work out. Sometimes I don't like them. I like, what is that? Nobody knows what that is. Even though
So
I do.
there's a lot of experimentation, that goes into glass. Have you ever had an experience where something you didn't intend happens for the positive?
I have made pieces where I have forgotten which colors are supposed to go together, and by mistake, and taken them out of the oven and went, whoa, that was a great mistake. Let's do that again, because it worked out perfectly. I also had someone ask me for a yellow vase one time, and I thought, a yellow vase? That doesn't seem very good. So I used a certain yellow powder it's called Irish yellow. And we made several pieces, and I opened up the oven and I went, wow, that's the perfect color. I didn't think it was going to work, but when I saw it, it actually was beautiful.
And then, so I know we're going to talk about the process, but I see on this particular vessel that we're using multiple different colors of Marini.
Yes. So I make those looking more like you're in a garden, looking, into the garden. And so usually there's several different layers, and each side of those pieces is different. Now this one is the wildflower, and the wildflower, that's just one basic composition all the way around, but still having the layers. And the wildflowers were who doesn't love wildflowers? I just love them. So the bigger flowers and then the smaller flowers if you're looking in a field.
And I know that, I don't know if we have the video of it, but your sunflowers.
Oh yes.
Is that newer or?
No, I'm really surprised. It's new. It's newer than the forget-me-nots and the red roses. I think I made those beforehand, and I think also the cherry blossoms. I think I made those first. But sunflowers, I actually always made sunflower paperweights, smaller paperweights.
Uh-huh.
And I just, it just seemed like the perfect flower to just create something large.
It seems to
see
make
fields of
you
sunflowers.
happy. Yes.
Yes.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Yes.
So you have been called the Marini glassmaker,
Uh-oh.
and you've talked a lot about Marini. So we have some videos of your process for the average individual who's not as versed in glass as you are. Can you walk us through these videos, talk about the tools, the steps, the process?
Sure. So this is called an overlay. The center is actually cool, and then I put the second layer, the second color over. The center is probably I can't remember which one I did, but that would be the center. Actually, this was the violet. So it's probably the center where the stamens would be. And then here I put it into the mold. It gives it the shape of the Marini. I'm just defining it there. And we'll let it cool, and then we get a layer of clear over it. And the clear is what defines the flower. If I put the two together, they would be just they wouldn't have the definition. So here we're getting ready to pull the cane here. And Jackie, my assistant, has brought the other punty. I attach it, and I'm just stretching it here. So the cane ends up being maybe 20 feet long. And my canes are not perfect canes. I want them to be different sizes. I want them to be thick and thin, so we have different variations of flowers. So we basically just pull away from each other to get it to be the correct size and stretch it all out here. And then eventually here, Jackie's we'll let it cool just a little bit. And then she's going to actually cut the canes into smaller pieces. We're getting ready to do that. It takes a while for it to cool.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want it to be too hot, but you don't want it to be too cold either when you put it away. So there we go. Now she's going to cut it, and those are just tweezers that she just touches it and it breaks. And then we're going to put it into the oven, and we actually anneal them and take the stresses and strains out of it. And eventually we cut them with just tile cutters to make all the pieces. So here they've been cut. And here I'm making a paperweight. So we're heating up the pieces, the compositions, and I'm just adhering it to the surface. They're hot and the glass is hot. Here I am pushing it into the surface. That just makes it, I'm straightening it up. Hopefully that each Marini goes in straight, not crooked. And it has to be heated into the surface. Eventually it will become one. It will be all flat with the surface. I can't remember exactly. Yeah, all right. So now I am taking it and I'm shaping it with a block. So I'm shaping it round. I forget if this is the whole thing. I think it is. This is the whole piece. Oh no, yes, that wasn't the whole piece. Now I'm putting the second layer on, the last layer, I should say, that are just the clear. So it's just cooling right now. You want it to be cool. If you went in there when it was very hot, you'd probably leave it in the furnace. So I'm getting a layer here, gathering is what we call it in the furnace, to get the layer of glass. And then I'm going to bring it out and we're going to shape it again so that it becomes the round paperweight. So I'm bringing over here to the bench, and there again with a block. This again, it just shapes it so it's round. It takes several times to do this because the piece was fairly cold. I need it to be fairly cold so that when I put that layer on there, those Marinis don't change, because they will change very easily. And right here, I'm using what we call the jacks, that was actually putting a line into it so that I can knock it off. it'll come off the pipe. And then this is just a graphite ring that I roll it in to shape it to be the perfect sphere. It takes several times to do that, to get it down to the right size, and also to get that that bottom neckline smaller so that I can knock it off and put it into the oven. You can see I'm doing it again using the jacks, just getting it tighter and tighter. And then eventually I have to use a torch because sometimes that graphite does leave some marks in it. So we just take the torch and get those marks out of it. So it's perfect. You can sometimes do that later on in grinding and polishing, but you don't really want to do it. Yeah, there I go. There's just little lines in it, and I'm just trying to fire polish those out. Then eventually the piece will cool, and I will put it into the oven and let it sit. It sits at 940 in the oven, and I will eventually I have a computer that sets the oven down, and it stays at 940 for 8 hours, and then goes down to 640 for another 16 hours, and then it cools naturally. So it takes a long time.
And here's that sunflower base I was talking about.
This is what I start with. These are the stems, I call them, this is how I pick them up. We make all of those. So here I'm just gonna roll it onto the piece. It's very similar to the other paperweight also. It just adheres to the surface, pushing them in to make sure they're straight. That's really kind of important because they're very sensitive. You can't really push them around, and you're slowly trying to heat them into the surface. And here we've made the piece already, so this is how we get it off. We take another punny with glass and attach it to the bottom of the piece. I'll put some water onto the neck, that line, that jack line, and then we'll knock it off. I think this one took a little longer than I wanted to. Yeah, there we
Is
go.
there part of the process for you is if something's going to go wrong, this is the time it's going to happen?
Right then.
That's what I thought. So
Yes, you can, if it's not attached properly, because you have to hit it so hard, we've had them drop off. So you have to be very quick and go and pick it back up. But sometimes it does put a ding into it. Sometimes you can fix it. Sometimes you can't. Sometimes you're just stuck.
So I was also looking at your attire. What's the temperature like? And I was kind of surprised of the lack of attire that you were wearing.
Oh, on my arms?
Protection. Yes.
It's only hot by the piece, and those pieces were small. If I was doing a larger piece, I would have a longer sleeve on, and it's a Kevlar sleeve, so it just helps protect you from heat. That when you're standing in front of the glory hole, it's hot. It's terrible when it's 90 degrees outside. I hate it. That's why I kind of like the winter, because it's 30 degrees outside and it's much nicer. But it's not that hot. It really isn't. And also you learn very quickly how to protect yourself from the heat. So when you're going to put the glass on and you're going into the furnace, you go in and come out. You don't hang out there and look at it because you're on fire. You just have to get used to it.
So speaking of that, I've heard many glass artists talk about having to understand the glass.
Oh, yes.
What does that mean?
Well, you have to learn, how to use the glass, I kind of say. You have to learn how to manipulate it. And also, I always say, put your own, what you want to do with the glass. You have to push that. The glass can, as you roll it on the metal surface, the marver, the surface is cool, but the inside is still hot. So you have to kind of learn how to use that. So you can still be shaping, even though it looks cold, but it really isn't. It's the center the core of it is still warm. you just have to really play with it and make sure that you are always imposing your will upon the glass, not the glass imposing its will upon you.
Got it. So I know you mentioned the annealing process, putting it in the oven, gradually cooling it down. Tell us about the cold working part that comes at the end.
Oh, yes. Well, we have wheels that are diamond wheels. So we can change the different grits down to the different diamonds from a higher, like a 60 grit, and it goes down to like a 270, and then eventually we have a pre-polish and then a polish. So it takes a while to. The first grit is the hardest because that's the part you have to take off all the imperfections in the way it was knocked off to get it flat. And then once it's flat, you keep moving down and down to get the higher and higher polish. So, each piece can take, it could take a half an hour just for a paperweight, just for one paperweight. And hopefully you didn't make any mistakes in doing it, because sometimes you have to go back. If you didn't take off enough, you have to go back and redo it. So, but you learn.
So again, Sean, you mentioned you started in glass in 1974. You're about to hit 50 years in glass. I'm sorry, how has it changed from when you first started to where glass is now? And where do you see contemporary glass art going in the future?
Well, when I first started, it was part of the crafts. So a lot of people were making things that were functional. There were other people that were making, more sculptural things or trying to kind of push the material. But I think most people were making functional objects. And today it seems that, well, number one, there's more to it than just blowing glass. There's flame working, there's fusing, there's casting, of which none of that was around when I started blowing glass. I only knew we kind of thought about it, but we didn't really know about it until much, much later. I think that now there's a lot more conceptual pieces that are being created with it. I don't know. A lot of people still seem to be making objects, but they're not necessarily functional objects, I guess. It's very different from what I do, I guess. I like to make things that are functional and that people can live with and enjoy, and make people happy, I guess, when they look at my piece. So.
And what about women in glass? How has that changed?
Oh, well, there was no one. Actually, it's kind of funny because when I started in glass, there was only like 6 people in the glass department, and it ended up being like 26 people, and 20 of them were women when we first went. But many of them didn't survive it. They said, no, this is not for me. But there just weren't that many women. And actually probably the hardest part for me was my name, because my name, Sean, most people thought I was a man. So sometimes that was a good thing. Sometimes it was not a good thing. People assumed I was, a man. And then when they realized it was like, oh, women can blow glass. It's like, well, yes, we can.
Yes.
It's hard. It's hard. It's harder for women to make larger pieces. I think men are it's just easier. I mean, some women make some very large pieces, but it took them a while to get up to that point. Men just are stronger, just the way their bodies are. They can naturally make larger pieces. So you have to learn how to, to size up your pieces if you want to. That's the only difference really with the women, I think. And there's just so many.
Yes, we are definitely seeing more with all those different techniques available.
Yes, I think there's more women sometimes than men anymore.
Yeah. So, is there anything you'd like to talk about your work that we haven't discussed here today?
Gosh, I guess, I guess, I guess I would like I say that I love making the pieces. I love making pieces that are just, interesting for people to look at and enjoy. I like simple shapes. I find that making complicated shapes, my work does not. It just doesn't fit that.
Mhm.
I want you to be able to look at the flowers and the marinis, and I guess that's the most important part to me of making the pieces. I wish I could make bigger pieces sometimes. I'm getting older, and the harder it is. And it's harder to find assistants too these days. Everybody is off and doesn't want to stay. So
Yeah.
I'm back to making them all myself again.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is Sean Messenger, our guest glass artist. Sean, I want to thank you for taking the time out of your day to talk about your process. And we are so inspired by the beautiful work that we have here in our I Am gift shop. And maybe you can come down to the museum. We can do something a little more in the future.
Really, that'd be great. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Sean.
Okay.
So I'm now joined by Pamela Samar.
She is my peer here in the retail gift shop. So Pam, what did you think of that interaction with Sean Messenger?
It was absolutely amazing to finally learn about her work, because we have the chance to be surrounded by her pieces all day long, but to really have the artist giving so much of her time is something that everyone should be appreciative of.
Not only does she have the beautiful work that she creates, being one of the first women in glass, but what an uncanny ability to be able to articulate such complex process into such usable and understandable chunks. I was impressed. All right, so just remember, everyone, our featured artist for Mother's Day and all jewelry is on sale 20% off. Come on down to the museum, 1901 Central Avenue, St. Petersburg, Florida, or go to imaginemuseum.com and use the code SALE20. So Pam, you know that our newest exhibition is opening on April 30th. It's called Florida in Transformation. It was our third annual call to artists. And this Florida-centric call to artists allowed for Imagine Museum to showcase the very best contemporary art and artists who live in the glass state. Our goal with this theme was to inspire artists working with glass to push the boundaries of Florida. Florida in Transformation, and they submitted works of art that communicate their personal narrative or influences taken from the state of Florida. The only way that you can through glass and profound qualities that can be captured. And boy, did they deliver. In our I Am gift shop, we also like to focus on our local glass artists. So let's take a look at a couple of the favorites that we sell here in the gift shop. Let's start with Annette Kapfer. Annette Kapfer Studios. Annette not only will be showcased in our Florida in Transformation exhibition, but she also works here at the Imagine Museum as a museum experience associate. As a child, Annette enjoyed many summers just outside of Oslo, Norway, where she fell in love with nature and the ever-changing oceans and its inhabitants. Long summer days on the water were spent playing and digging by the shore. After college and marrying her husband, Jerry, they decided to leave the city life of New York and moved to Florida on St. Pete Beach. You can imagine the complete delight and total jaw-dropping moment she experienced when she saw the tropical fish swimming into the docks, seahorses floating through the seagrass, curious turtles, and other unique creatures found in abundance in the waters of her new home in St. Pete Beach, Florida. The Annette Kapfer Glass Studio kiln-fused acrylic glass jewelry artwork by Annette is created using only the highest quality art glass in a similar way to that of a mosaic artist. And in 2019, Annette began the desire to create larger pieces of work. And so she started reaching out, reading, taking classes, and we're going to take a look at what came out of them. This is Annette's Coral series. So Pamela, I know you had an opportunity to talk with Annette about the process on how she makes the coral bowls. Can you take us through a little bit of how she creates these pieces?
Yes, absolutely. So I had the chance to talk with Annette, who was very generous of her time. And essentially, it is a three-step process in which she has to, in the first place, use a kiln shelf on which she puts some fritz, some glass powder, and she lays the glass powder using a stiffer. Now, in that first process, all really she's doing is creating a base coat for her bowl. So the bowl is going first time in the kiln, which is essentially a furnace, and it's going to stay there for about 12 hours. When she takes it out, she's going to add different colors to it. So she's really creating that layering, which a lot of you have probably seen in her work. And eventually, after the second round in the kiln, that's when she really creates the shape that is distinctive of her coral bowl. So she takes the fused piece of glass and she puts it on top of a mold. And as the glass piece sits in the kiln, it will take the shape of the mold just by gravity, actually. So she also uses some moraine pieces in there. She's constantly experimenting, but really her coral bowls are a very popular item in her store.
Not only that, her inspiration growing up in Norway and being surrounded by the abundant wildlife and the water, and then coming here to Florida, there's definitely a theme with her work, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, absolutely.
Very, very nautical inspired.
Yeah, very organic.
All right. So the next artist that lives here in Largo, Florida, we're going to take a look at is Michael Lingori. And he specializes in nautical gifts. So let's take a look. So Michael Lingori, he uses the highest quality borosilicate glass, and he is known as the Key West glassman. In Florida, marine life around the coast and inside its many waterways is plentiful. When you think about it, there's tiny sea creatures like shrimp and very large sea mammals like the manatee. Some animals, like the sea turtle, have been around Florida's coast for hundreds and thousands of years. So we're taking a look here at the sea turtle. The most popular one here in Florida is the loggerhead. It's named for its block-shaped head and is one of the largest species of sea turtles in the world. So Pam, if he uses borosilicate glass, what is borosilicate glass?
So borosilicate glass was engineered to be more thermal resistant to shocks. So in other words, if you do heat up a section of the glass, even though the glass is not heated evenly, it will not shatter and it will not break. So this is one of the main characteristics of this glass, and it allows artists such as the Key West glassman to produce this lampwork beauty.
So Pam, what I really love about this Mother's Day edition is because there's certain things in life that just make me smile. And I think we've kind of talked about sunflowers. It's Mother's Day, so the laughter, the innocence of a small child. And there's just something special about the dolphin that just always makes me glow. So here is Michael Lingori, the Key West glassman, also on sale here at Imagine Museum, 20% off. So the next artist we're also going to take a look at is Joe Hobbs. And Joe Hobbs also is going to be in our Florida in Transformation exhibition, which opens on April 30th. Let's take a look. So Michael was a graffiti-obsessed art student. He signed on for a class in glass art, thinking he was taking a stained glass course. Having grown up Catholic, he dreamt of melding the beauty of the church's stained glass with his love for illustration to create a uniquely inspired combination. However, he discovered he had signed up for blown glass and changed his artistic vision and the direction that he went. These are his sea glass seashells. They encompass the unique beauty of sea glass. The ocean takes discarded glass and turns it into treasure pieces. And when Joe was a kid, he used to discover this when he was collecting shells on the beach. Sea glass combines man-made product with the turbulent effects of the ocean. Reactions to nature inspire him to create this beautiful glass art, like these gorgeous shells, available in multiple colors for your specific design needs. And Pamela, again, is going to be featured in our Florida in Transformation new exhibition that opens April 30th. We see that Joe's going to be in the exhibition. We've met Christian in a past series who's also in the exhibition. We have Annette, but there's also 37 other Florida glass artists that are going to be in this exhibition. So it's pretty exciting. We're doing that here at Imagine Museum because the year 2022 has been deemed the Year of Glass by the United Nations. And here Imagine Museum wants to showcase these amazing artists that come from the Sunshine State. So I'm really excited about this exhibition. So just a reminder, all of these artists are on sale 20% off. When you go to imaginemuseum.com, use the discount code SALE20. So Pam, I want to thank you for joining us here on our special Mother's Day Live edition, because we know you're going to be a mommy soon. Congratulations. So Pam, how far along are you?
6 months already.
All right. So have you found out if it's a boy or a girl yet?
I did, and as a matter of fact, I do have something for you.
For me?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
There we go.
It's Hewlett Glass.
Yes, it's so lovely.
Hewlett Glass. Pamela, congratulations. It's a girl. It's a girl. Congratulations. Oh, how beautiful.
Thank you.
Well, Pam, thank you for joining us here. I also want to let you guys know all moms are free. Come on down on May 8th. Please make sure that you share this video with your family and friends. We want to wish you guys all a happy Mother's Day, including you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you guys. We'll see you back real
Thank
soon.